Hello there everyone, I'm Crazy Caleb, and today we are taking a look at a highly requested module by the community, exoplanets. So, as you can see here, we have a couple planets that are rotating around the star here, in this case. So what we need to do is, first off, we need to figure out our starting target planet and our target digit, which is how we will essentially submit it. So, how exactly do we determine that? Our target planet is the planet that is orbiting in a different direction than the other planets. So, taking a look here, we have the inner and outer planets rotating clockwise, and the middle planet rotating counterclockwise. So that is going to be our starting planet, the middle one. And our target digit is going to be with the surface value of the target planet as determined by the planet's appearance. So this one is like a purple and orange-ish. And these colors are very distinct from one another. They should be pretty easy to describe. You shouldn't have any problems there. So our target digit is going to be a 5. And what this submission essentially will be is based off of rules down here, a long list of rules. We will have to make a couple modifications to what we press and submit. So let's do that. So first off, what we need to do is we need to figure out we're going to figure out where our modifications are going to be based off of this grid right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to modify the target planet and the target digit using the table on the next page. This giant thing right here. So from the cell labeled start by facing north and then turn 45 degrees in the direction the star is spinning. The star, in this case, is spinning for every battery on the bomb. Let's count our batteries. We have 2 in this case. So we have 2 batteries and 2 holders. That'll come in later. And the other important piece of bedrock we need to get is our ports, which we have none, so I'm not going to bother marking it. So, taking a look here, and we're going to move in the direction to the cell in the ring of the starting planet. So our starting target planet in this case, was in the middle. So we're going to be in the middle ring to begin with. And we're going to be moving it clockwise because this is what the star in the center is rotating by. We're going to move it twice based off of the batteries, what we have here, 45 degrees in clockwise. So we have 1, 2. And that's where we'll land. But we're not done yet. And it's also important to note that we're going to be doing this process 3 times. However, you will only use the star rule once. You will never have to come back to it again for the other 2 planets that we will be calculating for. So for our middle planet, our starting target planet, we're going to move in the direction the planet is orbiting based off of its angular velocity modulo the number of battery holders. Now you might be thinking right now, what the hell is angular velocity? Well, it's rather quite simple. Using this definition right down here, it's essentially the speed of how fast each planet is revolving around the star. So what we need to do is we need to count a full rotation of the specific planet around the star. And the possibilities can be 5, 10, 20, and 40 seconds. So they're pretty far apart and they're pretty easy to tell. So starting from down, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The middle planet is rotating at an angular velocity of 5, from what I just counted right there. So it has an angular velocity of 5. And now what we're going to do is with that angular velocity, we're going to modulo the number of battery holders in this case. So, and it says plus the number of ports. Now, what exactly does this mean? These are actually 2 separate steps. The angular velocity is only going to be moduloed by the number of battery holders. And then what we're going to do afterwards is after the modulo happens, we're going to add the number of ports. So, the angular velocity we said was 5. 5, in this case, modulo the number of battery holders, which is 2. 5 mod 2, in this case, is going to give us a product of 1. And since we have no ports, we're not going to be adding anything else to that. And that's how many times we're going to be rotating, we're going to be moving our specific spot. And we're going to move it in the direction that our planet is orbiting right now, in this case, clockwise. So let's move it one time. And now, what we're going to do is apply the rule that corresponds to the letter that was landed on, in this case, Lima. And now, we will be looking at a couple modifications that either correspond to the target planet or the target digit. It will not be both. There is never a situation where you'll be changing both the target planet or the target digit. So, let's get rid of our angular since we don't need this anymore for right now. The target digit is the current target digit plus the first serial number digit. So our first serial number digit, in this case, is going to be a 5, because it's the first number in the serial. So 5 plus the first digit, being 5, is going to give us 10. Mod 10 is going to give us 0. So now that we've performed our modification, let's take a look back up here. Now we're going to move to the next ring and planet inward. If the current ring is the inner ring, move to the outer ring. And continue performing the above step until a modification has been carried out for all 3 planets. So let's move in one ring. And now we're going to be taking a look at the inner planet. We're not always going to be looking at the middle planet. Always. We're going to be looking at each individual planet for each individual step. So now, taking a look, and like it said here, we're going to perform the above step. We're not going to be looking at the star rule anymore. That's just for the starting part of it. So now, we're going to move in the direction the planet is orbiting once again, and this time its angular velocity is clearly different, and it's pretty darn slow. So counting from, let's just count one 90-degree angle and then multiply it by 4. So let's start from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It takes about 10 seconds to do a 90-degree rotation, and what that means for our inner planet is that angular velocity is a 40 seconds. And looking down here, that is indeed an option of which we can have as an angular velocity. So now we'll do the same thing as we did before. Modulo by the number of battery holders, in this case being 2. 2 is evenly divisible by 40, so that's already going to become 0 in this case. And then we're going to add the number of ports, which are, none are present, and then apply the rule that we landed on. In this case being delta, because we didn't move anywhere else. So our delta rule. The target planet is the planet whose value is furthest from the target planet's value. So taking a look up here, our target planet value right now is the middle one. It is 5. Now, what we have is both of these are actually the same planet appearance, and they both have the same value. Now, taking a look here, there's a little asterisk down right here, and this rule says if there are multiple planets that fit the criterion, use the planet that is closest to the star. In this case, inner is closest to the star, so the target planet will now become inner. And we'll move on with our lives. So now that we've performed that for that planet, we performed this ring specifically. Let's move out to the outer ring now, as that is the only planet we haven't taken a look at yet. Let's figure out its angular velocity of the outer planet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is about 10 seconds for an angular velocity. And look, this also happens to be evenly divisible by 2. So the modulo rule, modulo the number of battery holders, is also going to create an answer of 0 right there. So we're actually not going to move anywhere here as well. And we're going to apply rule Tango. Taking a look at Tango. The target digit is the current target digit plus the last digit of the serial number. So we're taking a look at the last digit of the serial number. So we have 0 right now. 0 plus 9 is 9. And since we have done and taken a look at all 3 planets, we can now submit this answer. We are going to press the inner planet when the last digit of the serial number is a 9. So let's do that. And just like that, is a module solved. And you'll start to see the planets and the star even black out, and then later on they will disappear.
Very well done.
Just like that. Alright. Let's take a look at another one, because, quite frankly, that got easily cheesed with the battery holders. So let's, oh, here we go. This will be a good example. Alright, so we have 4 and 3. And our ports is 1. We have a port. 1 port. So now, let's take a look. And it's also important to pay attention because, just a little side note, if you happen to be doing this on like a bigger mission bomb, or just in general on another bomb with other modules, this planet can be a little bit frustrating, especially since it can block other people's views and stuff like that, since it goes outside of the hinges. The nice thing is that you can press the star without having any strikes being given to hide all the planets. And you can just press it again to reveal them all. Thank you, Toss, for that. That really helps a lot. So, let's take a look. Our starting target planet is the one that is orbiting a different direction, in this case being inner, because these two are orbiting clockwise, and this one is orbiting counterclockwise. So inner, and that specific planet's appearance is going to be a 0, based off of that red and orange like background. So now let's take a look. We're going to start from the north, and since we are starting in the inner spot, since this is the ring that we're starting on, we're going to move we're gonna move 45 degrees based off of the way the star is spinning. In this case, counterclockwise, by the number of batteries on the bomb. So from our inner ring that we start on, we're going to be moving 4 counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we perform this other step. Move in the direction the planet is orbiting by its angular velocity modulo the number of battery holders, plus the number of ports. So, the inner angular velocity, let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It took about 5 seconds for just a fourth of that rotation, so we can safely assume that this is rotating at an angular velocity of 20. Its angular velocity is a 20. So now what we're going to do is modulo that value right here by the number of battery holders. So the number of battery holders is 3 in this case. So modulo 3, that will give us, so we have 15 and then 18, so that'll give us a value of 2. Plus the number of ports from that value will give us a value of 3. So, next up, we're going to do that. So, what direction is this planet spinning? It is spinning clockwise. So we're going to move 3 clockwise from our current position on this little ring right here. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to apply that rule. Hotel, in this case. The target digit is the current target digit plus the sum of all the digits in the serial number, mod 10. So we have 7 from this right here. 4 plus 2 plus 1 is 7. The target digit is the current target digit plus the sum of all the serial number digits. So 0 plus 7 is going to be 7. And that's our new target digit. And now we're going to move inner 1 ring. However, we are in the innermost ring, so moving outer. So we are in the outermost ring, and we're going to be taking a look at this planet now. So this planet's angular velocity is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 seconds easily. 5 modulo the number of battery holders, being 3 in this case. 5 mod 3 will give us 2, plus the number of ports will give us 3. And from that point, we will move 3 counterclockwise because it is moving in the counterclockwise direction. So 1, 2, and 3. And we will now apply the rule for uniform. The target planet is the planet 1 ring outward from the current target planet. However, we are the outwardmost planet. We are the outermost planet. If the current target planet, if the target planet is 1 planet ring outward, our target planet is inner right now. So we're going to move outward 1, in this case giving us the middle. My bad. I mixed up the planet that we were currently looking at and the planet that we are and the target planet. Those two can be very easy to get mixed up, so don't get that mixed up. And let's do one more final step. Moving inward once more, we're going to have this angular velocity. I can already tell it's going to be slower than this by far, easily. So this angular velocity has to be 40. Now, 40 mod 3 is going to give us a value of 1 because 39, we can get rid of 39 and keeping 1. And then we'll add the number of ports, giving us 2. And now, this planet is moving counterclockwise, so we are going to move 2 counterclockwise from this position. 1, 2. Hilo. Hilo's rule says the target planet is the planet 1 ring inward from the current target planet. Our current target planet is middle, so 1 ring inward would be the inner planet. Go figure. And now that we've done all 3 planets, we can now press the innermost planet when the last digit is a 7 to solve the module. And just like that is a solved module. Let's take a look at one final example, because in this example it was not easy to cheese, because sometimes you can just have to worry about this specific row or column or something like that. But this example we actually got to do some important calculations, so this was definitely a better example. So let's take a look at one final example and see what we get. So we are going to have, I can already tell this is going to be another one easy to cheese. We have 1 and 1 and no ports. So already looking at this, everything that's going to be modulo 1 will automatically be 0. So, and 0 plus 0 will not give us anything. So once we figure out our value from the star afterwards, all we're just going to keep doing is moving inward 1 ring. Examples like these become very easy to do exoplanets, trust me. So let's find our odd one out. And if I haven't stated already, there can be cases where they're all orbiting the same direction, and they have rules right here. So our odd one out in this case, these two are orbiting counterclockwise, and this one is orbiting clockwise. So our starting planet is the outermost, and its planet appearance has a value of 5. So now what we're going to do is start facing north, and since we are starting in the outer ring, because that's what our target planet is, now we're going to do some modifications. So the star is spinning currently clockwise right now. So for every battery, in this case being 1, we're going to rotate in that direction. So now, let's perform the R rule, because we determined that this is already going to be 0, because the angular velocity modulo 1 is always going to be 0, and we don't have any ports, so we're just going to apply the rules respectively. So we can already tell that we're going to be applying the rules in this order: Romeo, Juliet, and Bravo. So let's figure those out. Romeo, in this case, is going to be, the target digit is the current target digit plus 5. 5 plus 5 is 0. 5 plus 5 is 10, excuse me. Mod 10 is going to be 0. The Juliet rule is going to be, the target digit is the current target digit plus the number of modules on the bomb, mod 10. 0 plus 1 is 1. Go figure. And then finally, the Bravo rule. The target digit is the current target digit plus the starting target digit. So, our starting target digit was, in this case, from this value, 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. We don't have to mod 10. And as you can see here, sometimes you can get lucky and you don't even have to edit the planet that you're on right now. So we've determined our answer. Press outer on 6. It can be a little bit tricky to submit sometimes, like that, so. But, as always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy and stay cool. And as always, I hope you enjoy. Don't explode. See you guys.